The man just wanted to play the game quietly. As a solo player, every time he created a new character, he deliberately chose the weakest class and talents in the current version. That way, no one would want to team up with him, and he could experience the game in his own way. After this brand new VR online game launched, he did what he always did. First, he customized an ordinary-looking face. Then he chose the weakest class in the current patch, an archer. For life skills, he picked the most useless one, alchemy. That was because in this game, all potions could be bought from NPCs, and they were cheap. For physical combat, he chose basic kicking, which didn't even have a finishing move. For magic, he selected wind magic, which was countered by both fire and earth. As for escape skills, he picked stealth, a skill that consumed a huge amount of mana. With that, the weakest character in the entire version was created. But what Jack didn't expect was that, the moment he logged into the game, he was brutally humiliated by a pay-to-win powerhouse. After standing up and looking around, it seemed he really was the only archer around. But that was exactly the feeling he wanted. Before leaving the beginner village, Jack headed to the training grounds to improve his skill proficiency. That was when he realized just how weak archers really were. Forget hitting the bullseye. It was extremely difficult just to shoot an arrow at all. After firing dozens of arrows in a row, Jack finally, with great effort, raised his archery skill to level 5. After leveling his kicking skill to level 5 as well, he couldn't wait to head out into the wilderness. However, on the first day of server launch, there were more players in the wild than monsters, so Jack decided to gather some herbs first. But when he identified them, he discovered that 2 poisonous plants were mixed in with the herbs. This awful game design made Jack furious. After that, Jack bought beginner alchemy tools. Following the instructions, he crafted healing potions and antidotes. His alchemy skill smoothly reached level 7. When he returned to the wilderness again, there were barely any players left. Jack found a horned rabbit to test his strength. As expected, the first arrow missed completely. The second arrow didn't hit a vital spot either, and instead sent the monster into a rage. At the critical moment, Jack relied on his kicking skill to finally defeat the monster. Kevin, who witnessed Jack's bizarre playstyle, burst out laughing nearby. After finally catching his breath, he sent Jack a friend request. Lucy, who was with him, also added Jack as a friend, and the two of them left together. Jack continued grinding levels on his own. This time, he chose to hide behind a rock, and when the monster wasn't paying attention, he suddenly cast wind magic. The results were surprisingly effective. However, this method relied too heavily on terrain. That was when Jack suddenly remembered he still had a stealth skill. He activated it, and successfully went invisible behind the monster. Raising his bow, he fired an arrow, and it actually landed a critical hit. Only then did Jack realize that combining these two skills created a hidden bonus. He became excited instantly. After returning to town, Jack bought a loaf of bread from an NPC to restore energy, but it didn't taste very good. Being someone who cared deeply about food, he began researching cooking on his own. He sliced the rabbit meat and pan-fried it, then seasoned it with salt and pepper. A rabbit steak was finished, but after one bite, Jack almost chipped a tooth. Checking the crafting evaluation, it was only rated 2 points, so he immediately began improving the recipe. He cut the connective tissue and added herbs to remove the gamey smell. This time, the meat was tender, and the flavor improved. The evaluation reached 5 points, but Jack was still not satisfied. He tried blanching the meat before frying it, and added even more seasoning. This attempt was extremely successful. The evaluation reached an astonishing 7 points. The aroma of the steak attracted a large crowd of players. Seeing this, Jack quoted a price of 100 gold per serving, hoping to scare them off, but to his surprise, even at 20 times the price of NPC bread, the players unanimously agreed to buy it. Jack sold all the rabbit meat he had collected that day, and also unlocked the cooking acceleration skill. Since there were no other archer players on the server, Jack had to buy materials and craft his own weapons. After several improvements, he finally made a high-quality bow with 12 attack power. Then, using the money he earned from selling rabbit steaks, he bought a set of high-quality armor from the auction house. Considering that he would need money later on, Jack listed his cooked food on the marketplace, and also put up the rare potions he had crafted. After that, Jack headed to a higher-level wilderness map. At first, he was cautious when facing unfamiliar monsters, but after attacking them, he realized they were incredibly weak. Before long, he gathered a large amount of materials, and his skill levels increased significantly. When he returned to town to restock arrows, Jack was surprised to find that his stall had completely sold out. He had also received many positive reviews and pre-order messages. Just as Jack was immersed in his joy, the server announced that a new version update was required. When he logged in again, the city was in complete chaos. Because of this update, the developers removed the function that allowed NPCs to sell potions, and since very few players had alchemy skills, potions instantly became extremely scarce. The previously unnoticed Jack suddenly became a highly sought-after alchemy master. Even though he set the price at 40 gold, a long line still formed in front of his stall. At that moment, the pay-to-win powerhouse Mike suddenly appeared, arrogantly demanding that Jack sell him all the remaining potions. Jack told him that if he wanted to buy potions, he should get in line. Seeing Jack dare to defy him, Mike flew into a rage and directly initiated a PK against Jack. Despite Kevin repeatedly trying to stop it, Jack still accepted the challenge. Bracing himself, he simply couldn't stand Mike's arrogance. The battle erupted instantly. Mike opened with a cleaving strike, but to his shock, his full power attack was completely dodged by Jack. Before Mike could even react, Jack countered with a kicking skill, sending Mike flying. Before Mike hit the ground, Jack fired the decisive arrow. Just like that, Jack easily won the PK. What he didn't know was that, at that very moment, a pair of eyes in the crowd had already locked onto him.